Is one to watch in the northeast. A new driver to the region there. Certainly one to keep an eye on because he is absolutely flying. He's taking a few races there. Right, it's a good pause now for me to take a swig of my drink because I am running dry here, and we'll have a little break.
Attention. Our number one fan, Derek, has got his organ out. Want to give opinions on the burning matters of the day? Search on the Book of Faces for Stocks Radio Talking Shop, where you can discuss what's Gordon Moodley's favourite member of JLS, should Buxton hold the Scottish Championship, and what should be the optimum temperature of a Balti pie at Birmingham Wheels. Go to Facebook and get involved in the debate, and we'll read it on the show, if you're good enough. Right, put it away, Derek. That's enough of that.
Advertise on Stocks Radio. We have a rapidly growing listenership, and we want to make sure that there's an audience for your products. Stocks Radio has packages from adverts to features. Even so, you can sponsor a show for a week, to a month, to whatever. Contact us on Twitter @Stocks Radio. Alternatively, leave us a message on Facebook, facebook.com/Stocks Radio. Or visit our website, stocksradio.co.uk. Stocks Radio, the voice of stock car racing.
Hello, I'm Barky Michelson, and I'm here to tell you about something. There comes a time when a racer finds it just too much to keep up with those young'uns. We here at the Stock Car Old Git Association racers think those nasty brisket guys are keeping the fun for themselves, and we have set up a racing club where others race, and we use exactly the same as what you do, only ours is better because we don't have things like crash barriers and proper tracks. So if you feel that you've been cast aside by age, join us and hear us out. Law says so, and get a 3 pen just for inquiry. And if you sign up, you'll get a 3 carriage clock as well.
Warning. Although the grass may be greener on the other side, it's certainly not for racing on. Your health is at risk if you race with the in-laws. Subject to status quo. Saga Racing. If you're over the hill, it's all downhill from here.
The noise. The action.
Imagine having control in your fingertips.
Imagine no more.
The chance to be a stock car god is here.
Race against 12 real drivers.
Race on 10 real tracks.
Win real titles.
Will 2016 be the year that you win the world title?
On the bus.
Or maybe somewhere else.
Strap in and get ready, because here comes the noise.
Stock Cars Unleashed.
Let loose for Android on the Google Play Store from March the 8th.
The F2 Show. Do you know in the time it's taken to listen to this show, Gordon Moody has won yet another final?
And welcome back to the F2 Show. Now, as you know, or may not know, poor Lisa Samantha, she's not here today. But it isn't because of a certain incident that happened on Bank Holiday Sunday. There was truck racing at St Day. Now, poor old Sammy, she's had a, shall we say, somewhat difficult position with novelty races. A couple of years back, she was obviously the starter down at St Day. She was on the flags for that one there, and St Day didn't have the sturdy metal cage that it is now for the starter. And a bus came round and wiped out all 3. So wiped out.
Ding ding,
ding ding, and away we go. And away we go. Catching mine back to Easter this year, and she's starting. Well, she's not starting. She's marshalling the National Hot Rods, and a piece of that, one of those, comes flying off and scats her in the head. Some people she hasn't been right in the head since, but no one can tell the difference. But on Bank Holiday Sunday down at St Day, they had truck racing. Now, if I was to say to you, this was probably what the best describe what happened that day. There we go. So yes, again. So just the thing. So this is what happened with Sammy when Flossie, dear old Flossie, in the trucks, decided got it all a little bit wrong. Mounted the home straight monorail, almost taking out the trophies, nicely placed in front of race control, and headed straight for Sammy's metal cage where she starts the racing. And this is probably what she did. It's a shame she's not here. Well, we'll get her on. We might get her on the line to discuss what was going through her head when this happened. But certainly, it was a case like that. Obviously, this. So near miss was what we would say, but the fact of the matter is, there's two commentators down at today. There is obviously Brian Goldsworthy, the mouth of the South, who does the bangers, and there's John Wyatt, who does all the other formulas. And John was stood watching from a safe distance behind Sammy's cage, and he just stood there, literally completely nonplussed, while Sammy was scarpering out of her cage. So it was hilarious to see the not see the video so much of it, but if you haven't seen the video, it is on I believe the St Day Raceway page on Facebook. So there is that one. I will share it on the Stocks Radio group, and hopefully you will see just how close it was to Sammy's box. So she's poorly today, but that isn't the reason.
I think that's a sign she needs to go and buy a lotto ticket. In all seriousness, honestly, I would be out. I'd just buy 100 quid's worth, because you've got to be able to shout.
I would say I would retire and go and race control, but even that wasn't safe that day. If you've seen this truck, the truck was literally going to wipe out all the trophies in front of race control today, and literally wipe out race control. I dare say Nick Wadge was certainly running up and down, if not hoping, praying that it didn't go that far, but certainly hit the monorail at the top. And that was it, game over for the truck. And it was, and fortunately, one of the trucks had a high ab on it, so they didn't need to take too much time recovering it. They just lifted it off with high ab and away it went. So apparently that was I didn't know, because I was at Bristol. And let's bring it back to the meeting there. Bristol, 11 cars. Now that is the lowest one I've ever witnessed. That's the lowest meeting I've ever witnessed. And I had to commentate on it, which was fun. When you bear in mind that of those 11 cars, 2 were actually meant to be racing at St Day. We'll get onto St Day in a moment when we get Steve Gilbert on the line. But it was a small matter of 11 cars. Of those 11 cars, we had Chris Rampling and Mike Cox, 2 Mendips legends. Chris Rampling making his debut in Formula 2 in the Jack and Graham Bunter car, which was formerly owned by Mike Cox. Mike Cox now out in a Glenn Sanders' old Higman, complete with Z-Tech under the bonnet. So that was good to see Mike back out in the Formula 2. Your usual stalwarts of Sean Robinson and Gary Smith. So there's 4 cars there. So that brings us down to 8, because unfortunately Sean Robinson's car expired in practice. So then we were down to 11. So only need to lose 1 for the points, and we did lose a few. Shane Hector had a terrible day, but it was Lee Morgan who was the star of the show, taking 2 heats and the Grand National, and he would have had the final if it weren't for the fact that Gary Smith broke down with about 4 to go. In a precarious place, just going down a dip at Bristol, just coming into the turn, and obviously it's in a precarious position, and they decided to throw a yellow. That allowed Chris McCullough to catch his quarter lap lead that he had, and obviously McCullough then took over the lead with about 1.5 laps to go. Well, with about half a lap to go. So on the penultimate corner, he took over the lead on that one. So. Good meeting for Lee Morgan, absolutely flying, yellow top from Tiverton, and that was really the highlight of that. It was that kind of a meeting, very processional, and sadly, when you have Bristol needs a happy medium. It's good if it has loads. If it has too many cars, it can become bedlam and chaos. If it has too little cars, it can instantly become a follow the leader. jobby. So it's and that sadly was what it was. I mean, there was some good scraps between the blue tops that were present. There was only one red present, that was Chris McCula. But the blue tops, they were all scrapping amongst themselves, really. Right.
What do you think it was, Johnny? Do you think it was just the fixtures that have resulted in low car numbers? Do you think that's what the...
You had the split. Obviously, you've got the split there, which happens every year. And every year they've had roughly about 20 at each track. This year we were expecting probably 20 at each track again. But the fact of the matter is, we had, well, let's just say, of the drivers that probably would have raced Bristol, you have one completely fallen out of love with Formula 2, which is James Reiger. You got Cy Harroway sold his car on the naughty step.
Yep.
He would have raced at Bristol. You probably would have had Nathan Maymont and Paul Butcher. Both were on a stag week in America. You also had the small matter of, perhaps like the acts of Andy Walker, Danny Withers, those kind of people didn't show. So I know Andy was probably also in the States as well. So these people are choosing to go on holiday at these times when there are meetings on, and then they complain they got no meetings to race at. So, well, there you go. But I would say that if these were solus meetings, you wouldn't have got much more than 25 at each of them anyway. I think more people who would have raced at Bristol would have raced at St Day. I doubt it would have been the other way round, purely because of the fact it was toss a coin for a lot of people. I mean, for the likes of people who were living in Exeter, they went up, and if less than Exeter, they went down. So, and then the likes of Neil Hooper just took the day off. So it was a case of, I'm not going to favour one track or the other. I'm just going to take a day off. Fair dues. Sometimes you got to have some family time. But like I say, it was the highlight of the day for me was doing the draw for the Unlimited Rookie Banger World Final. It was really good. It was like the FA Cup and National Lottery all rolled into one. It was great. Ping pong balls flying everywhere.
God, I love
Bristol. St Day. Now we'll get onto that in a moment. We'll talk about St Day first and foremost. We'll round up all the other bank holiday meetings first. Then we'll get the winner of the St Day final. That was Steve Gilbert, and we'll get him on the line in a moment. He also had a fantastic day at Taunton too, so he's a really good weekend. So we'll get him on in a moment. But let's talk about the other meetings that happened on over the weekend. Holiday Monday, and we went to Skegness for the first time that week, and there were a fair few new and returning drivers for 2016. But you guessed it, heat and final double for Gordon Moody. Didn't have it all his own way though. Matt Everard took the second heat, and James Riggle took the Grand National. So that was Skeggy all sorted.
Porcupine Volivants.
Not quite Porcupine Volivants. Definitely just Volivants all the way. There we go. And Buxton. Again, limited amount of cars at Buxton. They were struggling again, but it was Tom Agcroft and Ben Lockwood who did the winning. With 2 wins apiece. But it was Agcroft who took the final. So Agcroft took a heat and a final. Lockwood took the heat and a national. So things like that. But the most consistent man of the day, 4 thirds. For Tim Bailey. He is Mr. Consistent. When he is on it, he is on it, and he is consistently good. Usually third place, but if it really is podium or nothing for dear old Mr. What's he called? Bailey. I completely forget there. I'm having this is the thing. I'll let you into a secret, folks. Eric last night was my little one. Was up with teething all night. And he was just an absolute nightmare. So if I sound a little bit tired and it sound like I'm drunk, it's actually because I'm actually very, very tired. I had about half an hour's sleep last night, which is half an hour more than Mrs. got.
So you're supping Red Bull at the moment, are you?
Well, I've had 2 cans of energy drink. I am literally...
Other types of energy drinks are available.
Yes, indeed. We're not talking of the Primo one either, but it was... I think it was